Do you ever think that you could have taken me down?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
And like he tells him straight up to his face, Ricky's whole mannerisms, his poise, everything changes. He's like, oh, really? You know, he hit him with the chin up. Oh, really? I mean, you want battle? We can get out here. I get out here on a Triumph. I got a 450 out there. We can settle it right now. This is the best way to start. If you listen to his shifts and then listen to Anderson's shifts, I mean, just even to a scientific point, it just makes more sense that he would be able to start more efficiently with his foot right there on the shifter. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trackside. It's your boy Cinema J here, and today we're going to talk about Cooper Webb's segment on the SMX preview show and Jorge Prado and Joe Shimoda. So if you guys are interested in those things, please stick around for the whole video. I'm going to start with the meat and potatoes, which for me was Cooper Webb's comments to Ricky Carmichael. Some things he said just stood out to me and hit a little bit different. But before I get into it, guys, first want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. All glory and honor be to him first. I would not be able to do this without him first, and then the support of you guys. He has so kindly blessed me with the gift to produce videos and in something I'm passionate about, which is the sport of supercross and motocross. I almost said super motocross because that's where we're at in 2025. It's the first day of the year. Oh, wow. So with that being said, guys, I say that to say, you know, when I ask you guys to support this channel through subscribing, supporting in whichever way you decide, liking the video, commenting, sharing the video, guys, this really means a lot. So thank you so much. You guys don't have to, but you do still. If you guys are interested in following me on social media or through some other things that I do, the links will be down below. But for now, let's get into what Cooper Webb says to Ricky Carmichael. All right, guys, so first, Cooper Webb says something that I mentioned a few videos back, which was, in my opinion, and not just because he's from North Carolina. Hey, NC, stand up. Let's go. But because I believe he's the best racer out there. I believe he's not the fastest guy. He's not the most skilled guy. But I believe that in every situation with every rider on the track, he knows how to race them better than anybody else on the track. And that's evident. The guy's won 2 Supercross championships and was not the fastest guy and did not win the most races. For me, the years where he beat Ken Roczen and got his Supercross championships with KTM, Cooper Webb, that is, I personally did not want him to win. I'm honest. I'm being honest with you guys. I personally wanted Ken Roczen to win those years, and I was super disappointed when I'm like, this guy Cooper Webb. Now, give some context. I really stopped following the sport like that after they banned James Stewart. He tried to do the comeback and things just weren't working out for him. And I knew Ken Roczen because he was racing when James was racing. So naturally coming back into the sport around 2019, 2020, full blown, I would say, I'm rooting for Ken Roczen. And this guy called Cooper Webb, I don't know much about Cooper Webb. I'll be honest. I kind of saw here and there him battling with J Mart in the 250 class and just kind of seeing like, okay, one of these guys could be the next guys to move up and be the guy. So I knew he was the guy, but I was more of a fan of Ken Roczen. Eli was in and out in those early, like 18, 19, and 2020, like he just couldn't get it done. 2020, he got it done. But 2021, like again, I'm looking at Ken Roczen and then Cooper Webb. So how were you guys? Were you team Webb or team Roczen back in those days? Like Webb was just like, when he dropped a pit board in front of Roczen and said red plate, I ain't gonna lie, that was kind of the moment for me when I was like, who is this guy? This guy is tough. I've never seen this done before. Takes me to the next section, which is, actually this was gonna be third, but I'm gonna bring it up next. That leads me right into it, where he says,
I believe our sport, as physical as it is just as much mental. And if I can do something to disturb you or get you off your A game, then it works, right?
Now, Cooper Webb makes a really good point here because this is very evident. The guy gets in your head. What he did to Ken Roczen that year, what we saw after that was him take the red plate back and win the championship. Yo, he stood on business, as my boy Jet said at Daytona. So, like, how can you not respect the guy who does that, who backs up backs this up. He's not coming out there. He's looking like the James and Ricky of old when he's on the podium, when he's talking. Mentally, the guy just looks sharp and tough. He's not playing. He's not laughing. Ha ha, I'm hanging out with so-and-so and we're golfing. He's coming out here to win a championship, and he's doing it. I still see that same Cooper Webb today. But Ricky asked is where he's from. Like, does that shape his mentality? And he said he's a good old boy from North Carolina. I can speak from personal experience. Yes, not biased, maybe a little. Being from North Carolina definitely has something to do with the mentality. All right, I resonate with Cooper Webb when I see him dominating. When I see him with that smirk on his face, when he wins. Not even the wins for Cooper Webb. When he doesn't win, that's it right there. When he doesn't win is what happens next. And guys like Jet, he's focused on like the negative energy to charge him up to go win. Me personally, I'm not with that. I lean more towards like Cooper Webb's mentality, which is I'm not winning. I'm hungry now. I'm focused on who's first place. That's it. What people are saying doesn't matter. They'll support me one day and then banning me the next. But who's in first place? That's what my eyes are set on, and I'm coming for him. This is why I have huge respect for Cooper Webb. Also, when he gets on the podium, he gives thanks to the Lord. I love that. I saved this part for last, is what he says to Ricky when I'm just gonna play the clip.
Do you ever think that you could have taken me down?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
100%, dude.
Do you ever feel
you
like...
had so many cheeks in your armor, it wasn't
Really?
even funny.
What?
You would just ride hard enough to like get a little gap, and then you just were just out there cruising. Stu came along. He had someone to run with you.
Yeah.
He had you shaking in your boots.
And like he tells him straight up to his face. I'm looking at Ricky. Ricky's whole his mannerisms, his poise, everything changes. He's like, oh really? He hit him with the chin up. Oh really? Let's hear it then. I feel like Ricky in a sense was like, I mean, you want battle? We can get out here. I get out here on a triumph. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's where Ricky was about to come from. I got a 450 out there. We can settle it right now. But Cooper Webb was like, you had chinks in your armor. Hey, this is valid. What he says about Ricky here was true. I can't play too much. These guys will copyright you like crazy. So, but he says, you guys go watch it for yourself. He says he has chinks in his armor. He would get a gap, and then he would just be out there cruising. We saw this before James, right? Like Chad really got to him because in that Supercross year, like he couldn't really do it as much. But that was Ricky. Ricky will put in the work and get out front, get to a pace that no one could get to or could emulate, or no one had the fitness to do whatever it is, the mentality, and he would just ride his own race. Now Cooper Webb, as we see, he'll get behind Jet and he'll stay behind Jet. And Jet, I believe, you gotta imagine if you're in first place and you get up to like 5 minutes within the race, or 5 minutes left in the race, and that guy's still like 3 seconds back, and now you're in the lappers, and now it's got to be in your head like, well, I can't make a mistake because this guy's here, and who is it? Oh, it's that guy. So like, about Cooper Webb, the last 2 to 3 laps, he's charging. A lot of guys, they don't do that. They just stay where they at, or they'll fade off a little bit. I saw a lot of this from Chase in the Supercross year. He would just fade. I don't know what was going on with Chase though. That's whole nother story. But Cooper Webb, he does not fade, he does not fade. When he is gapped to a certain point and he comes up to a certain point, if he's 5 seconds off within 10 minutes left of the race, by the end of the race, he's 5 seconds off. That is dangerous, This is why he has 2 championships. So then he says, so when Stu came along, he had him shaking in his boots because he had somebody to run with him up front that paced the whole race. I kind of just said this. Yeah, Cooper Webb was like, I can do that. Like, you may get to start. You may be able to set some crazy fast laps in the beginning. But is it consistent? Can you be consistent and do that? And this is where, James came in with the speed. And that was a tough thing to do for anyone racing James. I just watched that Vegas race where Villapoto was racing James on the Suzuki. And like, Villapoto said it himself on the Gypsy Tale podcast. He was not willing to push it to a place where James was, and that worked for him. As we know, that didn't work for James every time, being the fastest, and Villapoto will win. Ricky Carmichael will win. whoever was racing James would win. So, guys, this is amazing. I would love to see Cooper Webb race Ricky Carmichael, prime and prime. That's not something we talk about much, but that was a cool moment for me just to imagine. And hear a guy like Cooper Webb, confirm what a lot of us think too about the whole Ricky situation leading up to James. And honestly, Ricky said it himself. James was at a level he just was not willing to consistently take it at his point of life. And my guy just was out. So, had nothing to prove though. What do you guys think about that? What was the best thing that you guys saw or watched or listened to in that episode of the preview show? SMX, you can check it out. Super Motocross, that's where I got it from. I think it was cool. I think it's good for the sport. Surprised it doesn't have more views than it does. It doesn't even have 100K views. So, hey, let's see if we can get mine up to 100K views. That'd be great. But on to the next segment, Jorge Prado. All right, guys, so I haven't talked about Prado much, so I'm just doing him a little justice here and saying he looks good. Just looking at all the videos I'm seeing him ride at the test track, he looks good, right? But ultimately, we don't know a thing. What I do know, because we don't know anything until gate drops, right? What I do know is he's an incredible starter. Look at his starts right here. I'm just going to play this clip. So a lot of guys nowadays are starting on starting blocks. How do you guys feel about this, by the way? Please tell me in the comments. The starting blocks, I understand. Gives you a little advantage. I can see why that's really important, especially for shorter riders. But the way Prado starts here, with the foot on the shifter, just the 1 foot, like, we all know, or should know, I at least know, and I don't even watch MSGP like that, he's a great starter. Had great starts in 2024 in the few races he did, right? Is this why? I feel like, personally, this is a huge advantage. I guess if you can do it, if you have the height and the posture to do it, I feel like this is the best way to start. If you listen to his shifts and then listen to Anderson's shifts, I mean, just even to a scientific point, it just makes more sense that he would be able to start more efficiently with his foot right there on the shifter. Balance plays a part, right? Because with both feet down, I guess one can argue you have more balance on the bike if you got a bad rut or something, and then you got both feet there and then you're on the pegs. But man, that foot on the shifter is lethal. I mean, my guy is just like bong, bong, bong through the shifts, getting all the meat of the power in there and just rocketing him off the start, off the gate. So I think that that's the best way to start. And I think that we're going to see him up front early in a lot of these races, and he gets a lot of experience from being up front, learning how to lead these races, learning what happens when he gets passed, So I think it's going to be great for him. That was really like my biggest main point. I mean, he's training, but we can't really take much from that. All right. So, and I guess another good point was he's saying that the Kawasaki does feel better than the Gas. Said this on the Gypsy Tales podcast, which was huge. Can't discount the fact that he's saying this bike is better. He can flick it better. This is what Cooper Webb said about coming from the KTM Austrian brand. It's just that he can move and flick the bike and turn it completely flat on his scrubs and whips. So that's going to be huge, man, I think, for guys like that, because he was already lethal on the gas. So my boy sounds like he's about to be dangerous on the Cowie. So what do you guys think about Prado? Where do you guys have him? I expect to see him running, of course, in the top 10. I expect to see him progress throughout the year. He's a champion. He's confident. He's coming off a championship. This is what he said in the interviews. And he's in a good headspace. He's got nothing to lose. Look at Tom Vial. It's working great for him. I expect to see it work great for Prado in Supercross. He just got to get through this season healthy and learn. That, for me, would be, I think what Tom Vial said as well, would be the best thing. So motocross, though, whole different story. So I'm more excited for motocross this year in hopes that Tomac will actually be there full season, and because Prado is there. Guys, if we got everybody healthy this motocross season, ooh, this is going to be good. So that's it. That's all I got for this segment. Moving on to Joe Shimoda. Haven't talked about him much, but his coast is confirmed. So let's get right into that. All right, guys, welcome back. Joe Shimoda. I had Joe Shimoda winning the West Coast title last year, but he flopped. He was shot. But now he's on. He was on a new bike. a Honda. Now he's on another new bike, a Honda, but a 2025 Honda. I guess some may say this doesn't make much of a difference, but the riders even speak to this. So I feel like this is not an unknown thing or a silly thing to say that he's going to have to be learning this bike throughout the season, right? So testing will only get you so far. He's got to be in racing conditions. I'm super excited that he has chosen a coast, West Coast, and this is good. He's raced this whole coast last year. I don't remember where he was year before last, but I do think it's an advantage that he raced it last year. He's coming in hungry. He's coming in knowing what happened last year, and he knows what he's up against, which is Deegan. So these variables matter, I believe, in mental state. He just posted something. Actually, I didn't even get a screenshot, but he just posted a post last 24 hours talking about, his headspace and how he's feeling. Guys, this is huge. This is important. You could be the best dirt bike rider in the world. Look at Chase Sexton. But man, if you're not there here, man, it's evident what may happen, how it plays out when you lose, how it plays out when you crash, how it plays out when you lost because you went first, then you crashed, and now you gave up the points lead, right? So all these things are going to affect these guys. I expect to see Joe Shimoda coming out swinging. If Deegan has an off race, I'm expecting Joe Shimoda to capitalize on it. I'm also expecting those random beast mode moments we get from Joe Shimoda. Man, I want to see that consistently. Speaking of that, he just need that dog. He just need that dog in him, man. He just needs the dog in him because he gonna need it, man. He going up against the animal in Danger Boy Deegan. He is an animal. And I don't mean just Air Bud out here. I'm talking about the dogs that was in like the DMX Rough Riders videos. It was like on the tires, my guy. I'm talking about a pit bull dog. Like, he gotta be a savage. So we saw some of this, and the end of the 2023 motocross season, last two races, and the SMX finals, the 2023, we saw some dog in Joe. He was like running it in on guys. It's almost like he was listening to James and Ricky in the broadcast. This is what they were saying. Like, he's got to be a little more aggressive. He's got the speed, but like, he can't get around guys. When you got the speed, you just get around guys. This is what we saw from guys like James, Ricky, Chad even. They would get around you. I mean, if you don't want to move, but I'm faster than you, okay, you're going to feel a little Radiator. Okay, you're going to feel a little Alpine Star. You're going to feel a little Dunlop. All right, and you're getting out the way. So I think this would hugely affect how his season would go if he just had a little more dog in him. So that's what I want to see from Joe. Also, just a little fun take here before I end the video. I'm seeing, now, I'm a rider. I haven't ridden like 5+ years though. Mostly ridden 2-strokes, rode 451s. That thing was just like so fast. But like out wide open, 5th gear, sand and stuff like that. Well, that was just nuts and crazy. But stock bikes, usually when I'm riding. So I haven't experienced the bike, a real setup bike with recluse clutches like these, with suspension, like really good suspension. Dude, I wanted to ride so bad one time. I rode my YZ 250. It was a YZ 250 2-stroke. And I rode that thing when, I don't even think it had oil in the forks. I was just so desperate to ride. I needed to get suspension fixed. And I went out riding anyways on like choppy sand and like that North Carolina stuff off on the East Coast. And dude, talk about, I never experienced arm pump. I rode so much. But talk about just feeling like you're riding with pogo sticks on the front end. Yo, I could not hold on to this thing. Yo, it was just like everything, like the bars just wanted to just fly out of my hands. So I understood the importance of forks, having good forks. But I would never advise anyone to do that. That's just how crazy I was. I just really love to ride bikes, man. But my point is, the guys who are riding with the foot under the shifter, I don't think I'm gonna find this clip of Chase doing it. It was a good, nice slow-mo clip of Chase hitting a jump and then not even having his hand on the clutch. He hits with his foot under the shifter. And I understand why you would do it. We see Joe doing it in this clip here, just flowing through the sand, wheeling through the sand, just back on this thing with the foot under the shifter, just with that extra support, keeping the feet secure on the bike. making sure they don't slip off. If you come into a rut, making sure they don't slip off. It makes sense, but like not like, okay, the chase example, he hits the jump and you know, foot is under the shifter, and then foot comes off, downshifts, never touches the clutch. This has got to be the recluse clutch situation. Now, guys, have some grace with me. Yo, I do not know. I've not ridden these bikes. I've not talked to anyone. So for all you know-it-alls out there, I need you, man. Just drop it down in the comments. Yo, what is going on here? Is it the clutch setup? Can you do this on a stock bike, stock clutch? I don't know. This is just not something I've ever done or even thought of, but it's something I see guys doing nowadays. It just looks cool. And it's something that whenever I ride next, best believe I'm doing. Jumping, flowing through the sand like Joe here. I just think that's cool, man. These guys have elevated this sport and are doing things on a dirt bike that people don't even see. So just wanted to point this out in the show. The little small things that these guys are doing. If you want to hear more or talk more about this, just analyzing what these guys are doing, let me know, man. That'd be cool, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know, especially guys riding or, you know, out there with these new parts and with updated parts or not riding stock bikes. But for the average guy, for the guy like me who's just sitting back, take care of his family, not really doing nothing, not riding a lot nowadays, or not even on that level where you're even thinking about doing that, we don't know. With that being said, it's the end of the video. If you made it this far, thank you so much. You can support this channel by subscribing, liking the video. I have some links below, a few other ways you can support and check me out on my other pages. But yeah, hey, A1, less than 2 weeks away. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait. So, hey, strap in, man. Thank you for following. Happy New Year. Hope you guys stay safe out there. It's crazy out there in the world. And yeah, stick around to the next episode. It's Cinema J from Trackside. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way.